I'm Aaron Hayden. I'm a project manager with Amherst College. And I first came to this facility back in 1989 to try to help answer the question as to how valuable it was for the college. The facility was on the open market. You could go to the multiple listing service at your local real estate broker and get pictures of it. And Amherst College was interested, as you might imagine anybody is with a 40,000 square foot facility that is underground and secure. I came up here knowing nothing about it, which put me into an interesting position because people who lived here had all kinds of ideas as to what it was. Turns out that most of those were wrong, but it was fun to explore this place and figure out what it was from the little clues that were left behind. The clues were signs that were left on the wall, the layout of the offices, some of the more mundane equipment that was left behind, generators and switchgear, circuit breakers and the likes of that. And, most fun, a set of blueprints that were left behind of the renovation of this facility back when it was expanded in 1962. In 1959, it was built as an off-base communications center for Westover Air Force Base. And it was designed ultimately, when it was expanded, to house 350 men for 35 days so that they could provide all of the C-cubed functions for all of the nuclear forces at the disposal of the United States of America, except for the submarines. C-cubed functions are command, control, and communication. They could dispatch, they could order the deployment of airplanes and boats and all of the missiles that were around the country, around the world. Unfortunately, there's nothing really exciting left here. All of the cool stuff is gone. The only artifact that's left from the Air Force days are the doors of the mezzanine overlooking the war room. In 1962, the facility had the expansion of the facility was not quite complete. Essentially, all the equipment was installed and turned on and running when there was this little dust-up about missiles in Cuba. And they needed, the United States of America needed a facility to provide C-cubed functions in the middle of that missile crisis, the Cuban Missile Crisis. This facility was commissioned, was turned on for that crisis. And in the war room, which would have been the nerve center of the operations here, the map on the wall that we can all envision a war room needs to have, the world map that shows you the status of what's going on, that was projected on the wall. That wasn't like in Winston Churchill's bunker, a pull-down map that you point a stick at. It was projected. And the projectors were very noisy. And there was no wall in between the war room and the projection room. So in the middle of the Cuban Missile Crisis, carpenters were working here to build a wall so that the sound could be kept out of the operations of this place. The concrete in this facility, which is 7 feet thick on the thinnest wall, which is the back wall, is in order for it to grow to its or be made to have its maximum strength, it had to have been poured all at once. They had to, once they started pouring it, once the forms were built and the concrete began to flow in, they couldn't stop until the form was full. To pour that much concrete required that every concrete truck driver in the Connecticut River Valley had to be here 2 or 3 times. I've met a number of these drivers, and they were very colorful in describing how afraid they were that they might transgress and have great bodily harm done to them. They would arrive at the main gate. They would be given a little map showing them where they were to drive and dump to. They were told not to look left, not to look right, just drive to the spot, dump, and leave. And they would drive to the spot and dump it and be grateful to be leaving. The irony in this, of course, is that this top secret facility was visited by every concrete truck driver in the Connecticut River Valley 3 times. Well, let's face it, this was our little cog in the mutually assured destruction and the complete destruction of the world. This is our doomsday machine. Favorite part of my tours are the end, not because it's the end, but rather because it shows what the plowshare is that you can pound out of this sword that had been a doomsday machine, part of the Strategic Air Command. There was nothing about this facility that was valuable anymore except for the facility itself. An underground, temperature-controlled space is the kind of thing that colleges really benefit from having, so they can store things that mind temperature changes, like archival books and records and things like that. And that was my recommendation, is that we purchase it, we strip it out, and we fill it up with books. Well, today, on the first floor alone, because the bunker is built so strongly, we can use very dense shelving for library books. There are 8.5 miles of shelving, which is roughly a third of the shelves that you could possibly put into Frost Library. That's what we're doing with it today.